Let's take a moment to examine this picture. At first glance, it looks like a typical circle time scene. Miss Johnson is sitting on the carpet singing songs with the children. Everyone seems calm, engaged, and well behaved. But here's the question: what's wrong with this picture? Let's look closer. This classroom is made up of toddlers, all under the age of 2. That means they fall into the 12 to 24-month age group according to Kentucky child care regulations. Now, here's the key detail: Miss Johnson is alone. She's the only adult in the room. Let's count the children. You'll see 9 clearly, but look again. There's actually a 10th child, a little girl seated between the boy in the wheelchair and the child to his left. So now we ask, what is the required staff to child ratio for this age group? According to Appendix A on page 40 of your participant handout, the maximum group size for toddlers 12-24 months is 1 staff to every 6 children. That means with 10 toddlers in the room, there should be at least 2 staff members present, and ideally more. This setup, 1 adult with 10 toddlers, violates Kentucky's ratio regulations. But more importantly, it puts the children at risk. Even if Miss Johnson is the most loving, experienced teacher in the world, it's simply not possible for 1 adult to supervise, support, and respond to 10 toddlers at once, especially in the event of an emergency or unexpected behavior. Let's break it down. What if 1 child needs a diaper change? What if 1 toddler runs toward the door? What if a child chokes on a snack or suddenly vomits? What if 2 kids start fighting or biting? In a group this size, no one can be seen, heard, or helped in time without proper support. This picture is a great example of how even the most peaceful-looking classroom can be unsafe if it's not staffed according to regulations. Here's the takeaway: ratios are not suggestions, they are legal requirements. They exist because research, licensing data, and safety records all show that lower ratios lead to better supervision, safer environments, and healthier outcomes for children. So what should happen here? Either the group needs to be split into 2 smaller groups with 2 staff members, or another qualified adult should join the classroom to meet the 1:6 ratio. Also keep in mind, lower ratios are recommended, especially with toddlers who are unpredictable, fast-moving, and still learning basic safety skills. So next time you're in your classroom, remember this picture. Ask yourself, do I have the right number of children for the number of adults in the room? If something unexpected happens, can I respond quickly and safely? Am I set up to supervise everyone appropriately? Ratios aren't just about compliance. They're about protecting children and setting yourself up for success. Let's take a look at this next picture and think critically about what's wrong with this scene. At first glance, it looks like a really positive moment. Miss Todd is sitting in the housekeeping area, supporting the children's play. She's engaged, she's present, and the children seem happy and focused. So, what's the issue? Let's pause and look closely at her positioning. Where is her back? That's right, her back is to the rest of the classroom. She's completely focused on the 2 children in front of her, but she has no visual on what's happening behind her. And what do we see behind her? Several children are moving about the room, including 1 child who appears to be talking loudly or maybe even yelling. There's another child halfway hidden behind a shelf. From where Miss Todd is sitting, she can't see what they're doing. And if she can't see them, she can't supervise them. This is a supervision red flag. Even though Miss Todd is doing something good, supporting pretend play, she's unintentionally compromising supervision for the rest of the group. Let's consider the full scenario. She is alone in the room. There are 10 children, all between the ages of 3 and 4. That means she's right at the legal ratio for preschoolers in Kentucky, 1 staff member for every 10 children. When you're at maximum ratio, there is no room for error. That's when you need to be at your most alert, not just engaged, but strategically positioned so you can see the entire space at all times. Here's the rule to remember. If your back is to the room, you are not supervising the room. It's okay to kneel down or interact with a small group. In fact, we want you to. But you should always do so in a way that allows you to keep your eyes on the bigger picture. So what could Miss Todd do differently? She could kneel in a different position where her body is turned toward the play space. She could choose a seat where she can support play and scan the room. Or she could invite the children to move their play into a more visible area of the classroom. Supervision doesn't mean watching everything with laser focus every second, but it does mean staying aware, staying available, and always making sure no part of the room is out of sight. And remember, supervision is not just about watching children. It's about positioning yourself to anticipate behaviors and respond quickly if something goes wrong. So the next time you're engaging with a child or a small group, do a quick check. Can I see the rest of the class? Can I hear what's happening behind me? If I had to stand up and intervene, how quickly could I do it? Supervision is active, not passive. And this picture is a great reminder that how we position ourselves matters just as much as what we're doing. Let's take a closer look at this photo and think about what might be wrong with this classroom setup. In this scenario, we're in a preschool room with 8 children and 1 adult. Miss Cooley, who is indicated by the red arrow in the back of the room. Now, at first glance, things might look fine. Children are spread out in different areas. No one seems to be in distress. And Miss Cooley appears to be using her time wisely by prepping materials for the next day. But now let's zoom in on the 2 children, also marked by red arrows. They're playing together near the cubbies. According to the scenario, these 2 children have not been getting along this morning. There's already been some pushing and shoving earlier, and now they're in close proximity again. So here's the question. If something happens between those 2 children, is Miss Cooley close enough to intervene quickly? The answer is no. She's on the far side of the room, her back turned slightly, focused on gathering materials. While she may be listening and occasionally scanning the room, she's not in a position to respond immediately if something goes wrong. This is a clear example of what we call a supervision breakdown. Even though Miss Cooley is trying to multitask, she's missing the bigger picture. There is a known conflict between these children, and that changes how we supervise. As educators, it's our job not just to monitor behavior, but to anticipate it. If you know that certain children have been testing boundaries with each other, or there's been tension between specific peers, it's your responsibility to stay physically close enough to step in if needed, redirect children to separate play areas, model positive interactions, and help rebuild relationships if conflict has occurred. Let's say something does happen, a shove, a yell, a toy gets thrown. If Miss Cooley is across the room, there's a delay in response. And in those few seconds, someone could get hurt or the conflict could escalate. Even worse, other children might witness the behavior and think it's okay. Here's what should have happened instead. Miss Cooley could have gently encouraged the 2 children to choose different areas during free play. She could have relocated her prep work to a table near them, keeping herself within arm's reach. Or she could have made a proactive plan to check in more frequently with the children showing signs of conflict. Remember, proximity matters. Being close enough to intervene isn't just about stopping harm. It's also about providing emotional support, teaching self-regulation, and reinforcing boundaries before situations get out of control. So the key takeaway here is this. Even when children appear calm, and even when things seem quiet, your awareness of past behavior must guide your supervision decisions. Use what you know to prevent what might happen. That's what strong supervision looks like. Here's another scenario for us to consider. Ms. Smith and Miss Parker are outside with their group of children during outdoor playtime. On the surface, things look calm. The children appear to be enjoying the playground equipment, and the 2 staff members are seated nearby at a picnic table. But the real question is, what's wrong with this picture? Let's take a closer look. Miss Smith and Miss Parker are focused on a photo album, looking at birthday party pictures and chatting. Their bodies are turned inward toward the table. Their attention is not on the children, but on each other and the album in front of them. Now let's think about this from a supervision standpoint. Yes, the teachers are physically present. Yes, they're seated in the outdoor play area. But supervision requires more than just being there. True supervision means staying visually and mentally focused on the children at all times. In this picture, their attention is diverted. They're not actively scanning the playground. They're not looking up. They're not listening closely for any sounds of distress or risky behavior. This is a common and dangerous mistake. Outdoor time often feels like a natural moment to relax, especially if the children are playing well. But outdoor environments actually require even more attention, not less. Why? Because children are moving fast and often in different directions. Play structures come with fall and injury risks. Gates and fences can be left unlatched. Hazards like insects, sharp objects, or strangers nearby can emerge unexpectedly. And remember, things can escalate quickly. One minute, a child is sliding happily. The next minute, someone's pushed, fallen, or disappeared behind a shed. In this picture, we don't know where all the children are. We can't tell if someone is climbing unsafely, arguing with another child, or approaching a boundary line. But more importantly, Miss Smith and Miss Parker don't know either. Their attention is not on the children, and that means those children are unsupervised. So what should happen here? The adults could take turns viewing personal items like photo albums after their supervision shift, position themselves standing or sitting where they can see the entire playground, engage with the children through conversation, play, or observation. Avoid any personal distractions, whether it's phones, books, or side conversations. Here's the takeaway. If your eyes and mind are not on the children, you're not supervising. You're just present. And being present is not enough when children's safety is at stake. Let's commit to making outdoor time both fun and safe by staying alert, involved, and ready to respond.